Everything we thought we knew about Gen V just got shattered. The season 2 ending wasn't just another finale, it was a declaration of war. Vought's mask has finally started to crack, the heroes we trusted are falling apart, and a new kind of evil is stepping out of the shadows. It's the kind of ending that makes you question who's really in control and whether anyone can stop. What's coming next? The final episode of Gen V Season 2 opens with chaos spilling across every corner of Godolkin University. The students, once manipulated pawns of Vought's grand experiment, are no longer silent. The uprising feels raw, violent, and unfiltered, like the moment years of fear finally explode. Every hallway, every classroom turns into a battlefield of broken alliances and desperate survival. You can almost feel the shift in the air, that quiet sense that something bigger than any of them is unfolding. Marie stands at the center of it all, covered in blood, not just the blood of others, but her own. It's a symbolic moment that captures her transformation from a scared freshman into a figure of power and rebellion. She's no longer running from her past. She's embracing it, using it as fuel. Every scream, every punch, every flash of red energy around her tells the story of someone who has finally accepted who she is, no matter how dark that truth may be. Meanwhile, Kate's betrayal still burns through the group like wildfire. Her decision to side with Vought, or maybe just herself, reminds us that in this universe, morality doesn't exist in black and white. Her actions aren't out of hatred, but out of desperation. She believes she's saving people by taking control, but in reality, she's creating chaos no one can contain. What's terrifying isn't what she does, it's how calm she is while doing it. That calm smile in the middle of destruction makes you wonder whether she's lost her mind or finally found her true purpose. Andre, torn between loyalty and rage, becomes the emotional backbone of this episode. His power metal bending mirrors his internal struggle perfectly. The more he tries to hold things together, the more everything around him bends, twists, and breaks. His grief over his father's death collides with his guilt for not stopping Kate earlier. Every move he makes feels heavier, like he's dragging the weight of every broken friendship behind him. And then there's Jordan. Season 2 gave Jordan more depth than ever before, showing both sides of their identity, not just as powers, but as pieces of a fractured soul. In the finale, Jordan becomes the voice of reason when everyone else is losing control. They step into chaos not to dominate it, but to guide it, to remind Marie and Andre that even in a storm this violent, there's still a line between fighting for freedom and becoming the monster you're trying to stop. But beneath all the blood, destruction, and screaming, something darker brews under Godolkin. The woods, once thought to be destroyed, isn't gone, it's evolved. Hidden beneath new layers of concrete and silence, it's now part of something much bigger, something connected directly to Vought's secret military branch. The final moments before the first big twist hit like a gut punch, a glimpse of a new experiment, Compound V, re-engineered. No longer a drug that simply gives powers, but one that changes how powers think. It's not just about control anymore, it's about rewriting human nature itself. That's when it hits you, the chaos at Godolkin isn't the real war. It's the distraction. The real battle is happening in the labs, in the shadows, where scientists and executives quietly play God while the world burns on the surface. The heroes fight for freedom, but the truth is, they were never free. Every drop of blood spilled, every scream echoing through the halls, is just fuel for a system that feeds on chaos. And that's where the season sets its trap, the illusion of revolution hiding a deeper manipulation. As the episode's first act closes, the camera lingers on Marie's face, her eyes shaking between rage and realization. She understands it now. This isn't about winning, it's about surviving long enough to expose the lie. The system won't fall by force. It will fall by truth. But in a world built on deception, how do you even recognize truth when it stands right in front of you? That's the question that drives the rest of the finale, and it's the reason Gen V Season 2 hits harder than anything we've seen in the boys' universe so far. Silence. That's how it begins. The kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful, it feels like the moment before a bomb goes off. The camera moves through the wreckage of Godolkin University, shattered glass, smoke, bodies on the floor, and the faint echo of alarms still ringing somewhere in the distance. You can sense it's something irreversible has happened. Everything that held this world together, every lie, every illusion of control, has cracked open. And standing in the middle of it all are the survivors, still breathing, but no longer the same people they were an hour ago. Marie walks through the halls, each step echoing like a drumbeat. Her hands are trembling, not from fear, but from the rush of power still pulsing through her veins. Her control is slipping, and she knows it. Her powers, once something she feared, now feel like they're feeding off her anger. The blood around her isn't just something she's using, it's responding to her, moving like it has a will of its own. This is where the line between hero and weapon starts to blur. You can see it in her eyes, the confusion, the exhaustion, the question she can't escape. Am I saving people or destroying them? Andre finds her amid the smoke, and for the first time, he doesn't look like the strong one anymore. His voice shakes when he speaks, his eyes heavy with guilt. Everything he believed in, his father's legacy, his faith in doing the right thing, has been ripped apart. He doesn't know who to trust, not even himself. And when he looks at Marie, it's not love or friendship that connects them in that moment, it's survival. Two people trying to stay human while everything around them turns monstrous. Then Kate appears, calm, composed, her face untouched by the chaos that surrounds her. The kind of calm that doesn't come from peace, but from total conviction. She believes she's doing what's necessary, that she's the only one strong enough to make the hard choices. She calls herself the savior of Godolkin, but her version of salvation is twisted. It's about control. She sees freedom as chaos, and chaos as weakness. And that's what makes her so dangerous. Marie confronts her, and for the first time, words cut deeper than any power could. Kate talks about order, about ending pain by taking away choice. Marie sees it for what it is, fear disguised as leadership. The argument builds like thunder, two ideologies colliding in the middle of a war neither of them can win. Kate insists that if everyone just listened to her, no one would suffer. Marie replies, if you take away choice, you take away what makes us human. That's the heart of Gen V, the constant fight between control and chaos, between safety and freedom. The tension reaches its breaking point when Jordan steps in. They've been watching from the sidelines, torn between loyalty to their friends and the realization that this conflict is spiraling beyond anyone's control. Jordan's voice shakes when they say, "You're both wrong. You can't lead people if you don't trust them." It's a moment that cuts through the noise, a reminder that power without empathy is just another kind of violence. But before anyone can breathe, the ground trembles. The walls crack. A low hum fills the air, the sound of something massive waking up beneath them. The woods, the very place that turned them into what they are. It's not just a lab anymore, it's alive. The new version of Compound V has found a way to merge with its subjects. It doesn't just enhance powers, it syncs them, connecting every altered mind into one network of control. The camera pans down into the underground facility, where scientists in panic try to shut it down, but it's too late. The experiment is no longer theirs to control. Back above ground, panic spreads. Students scream as their powers spiral out of control, twisting into new, unstable forms. Fire burns through the walls, metal warps. The air itself seems to vibrate. Kate tries to seize control through her psychic ability, but the system she thought she could manipulate begins to push back. She hears voices that aren't her own, thoughts that don't belong to her. For the first time, Kate is scared. Marie and Andre drag her out as the building collapses, but the moment feels hollow. No victory, no resolution, just the realization that the thing they were fighting, the control, the lies, the manipulation, wasn't coming from Kate or even Vought. It was something deeper, something that's been growing quietly all along. The final image of the section freezes on Marie looking up at the burning sky, the reflection of the flames dancing in her eyes. She whispers something under her breath, a line that's almost lost in the chaos. They don't need to control us anymore. We're already becoming what they wanted. And that's when you realize the real horror isn't that they were created by Vought. It's that Vought might not even need to exist anymore. The experiment worked. The world is producing its own monsters now. Smoke fills the air, thick and heavy, turning every breath into a reminder of what's been lost. Godolkin University, once the heart of Vought's new generation of heroes, is nothing but ruins, now a graveyard of lies. The fire that devoured the campus has died down, but the silence it leaves behind is even louder. Somewhere between the crackling embers and the distant sirens, the truth begins to crawl to the surface. And it's darker than anyone could have imagined. Marie stands in the ruins, her hands still red. But not from fighting this time, it's from digging. She's searching for something. Not a person, not a weapon answers. She finds a charred piece of metal buried under rubble, a fragment of a data drive marked with Vought's symbol. It's half melted, but still readable. When she plugs it into a broken terminal, the screen flickers, showing files labeled Project Rebirth, Subject Integration, and Control Phase 3. Her eyes widen as the videos play, recordings of experiments, test subjects screaming, injections of Compound V mixed with something else, something glowing. Unstable and alive. The horrifying truth hits her like a punch to the chest. The woods wasn't destroyed at all. It was relocated, rebuilt as something more advanced, more secretive. Vought didn't just want to make Supes, they wanted to make obedient gods. Beings powerful enough to control nations, but too mentally wired to ever rebel. Kate, Jordan, Andre, even Marie herself, they weren't mistakes or accidents. They were prototypes. And the uprising that burned Godolkin to the ground wasn't a failure, it was part of the design. Andre finds her watching the footage, his face pale under the dim light. He doesn't speak for a long time. He doesn't have to. They both understand what this means. Every test, every lie about saving the world, every heroic death, it was all orchestrated to push them toward one outcome: evolution through manipulation. Vought's ultimate creation isn't a hero, it's chaos disguised as hope. Then, buried within the files, Marie finds something stranger, an audio recording. A woman's voice, calm, collected, too familiar to ignore. It's Victoria Neuman. She's not talking like a politician here, she's talking like a scientist. The recording reveals she wasn't just aware of Godolkin's experiments. She funded them. Her words echo in the silent ruins. The next generation must not only have power, they must have purpose. We will program that purpose into them. This revelation changes everything. Neuman, the face of justice, the one fighting to regulate Supes, is the one scripting their minds. It's not about safety. It's about building a world where loyalty isn't chosen, it's installed. The same woman preparing to lead America is quietly crafting an army of living weapons designed to obey her every command. The fear that creeps over Marie's face isn't shock, it's realization. She's part of that plan. Jordan joins them, coughing through the smoke, carrying a wounded Kate. Kate's powers are fading, her mind overloaded from trying to control too many people at once. She mumbles fragments of thoughts she's picked up, voices of scientists, soldiers, and the chilling line, activate phase 3. It's like she's become an antenna for the system itself, still connected to the network born in the woods through her. Marie realizes the final phase isn't destruction, it's activation. The compound spreading through their blood isn't meant to kill them. It's meant to link them. As the realization sinks in, the ground trembles again. The hum returns, deeper this time, vibrating through their bones. From beneath the ruins, faint blue light seeps through cracks in the concrete. The connection hasn't been broken, it's evolving. The surviving students, scattered across the campus, begin to convulse as their powers react uncontrollably. Fire bursts from palms, air warps around bodies, and voices merge into a strange, unified whisper. We are the next generation. Marie screams for them to fight it, to resist, but it's no use. The connection is spreading, linking every mind tainted by Compound V into one consciousness. Vought's plan to control individuals has become something beyond even their reach, a collective organism of power and rage. For a moment, the world seems to hold its breath, waiting to see whether this will be humanity's evolution or its end. In the middle of it all, Marie's nose begins to bleed. Her powers react violently, blood spiraling in the air around her like a living storm. But instead of losing control, she does something no one expects. She pushes back. Using her connection to blood, she disrupts the link, cutting through the network's psychic threads. One by one, the voices fade, and the survivors collapse. The blue light dies. Silence returns, but when Marie opens her eyes, she's no longer in the same world. Her vision flickers with glimpses of something else, memories that aren't hers, voices that don't belong to anyone she knows. She realizes that while she may have broken the connection, part of it stayed inside her. She didn't just stop the woods. She absorbed it. The scene ends with her standing in the rain as sirens approach, her eyes faintly glowing blue. Andre asks softly, "Marie, are you still you?" She doesn't answer. She just looks at her reflection in a puddle, half human, half something else, and whispers, "I don't know." And in that moment, the camera pulls back, showing the scale of destruction, the storm clearing, and a single word flashing across the remaining data screen. Integration complete. The truth beneath the ashes isn't about who survived, it's about what was born in the fire. The world doesn't explode after Godolkin, it changes quietly. The morning after the chaos, there's no sunlight, only gray clouds hanging over the smoldering remains of the university. News helicopters hover in the distance, their blades slicing through the silence, broadcasting half-truths to millions watching from their living rooms. Vought releases a statement before noon. A tragic accident involving rogue Supes, contained swiftly. No ongoing threat. Just like that, an entire rebellion is rewritten as a footnote in the corporate press. But beneath the surface, something far greater is unfolding. The survivors, Marie, Andre, Jordan, and a barely conscious Kate, are hidden deep inside a secret government bunker. Everything around them hums with quiet paranoia. White walls, fluorescent lights, security cameras that never blink. Men in suits watch from behind glass, jotting notes as if studying wild animals. Marie sits on a steel bed, her hands wrapped in bandages, her expression empty. She's not broken, but she's not free either. The blood inside her veins feels heavier now, like it remembers more than she does. When Victoria Neuman enters the room, the air changes. She doesn't need to raise her voice. Her presence commands silence. She thanks them for their service, calling them heroes for preventing the spread of a dangerous experimental virus. Every word is carefully chosen, every smile calculated. Marie stares at her, realizing this woman isn't rescuing them, she's rebranding them, turning survivors into propaganda. Neuman leans in close, whispering just loud enough for Marie to hear. The world doesn't need to know what really happened. They just need to believe you saved it. Later that night, Marie finds a screen left on in the corner of the bunker. The news shows her face, her blood-soaked image from the battle paired with the headline, "Godolkin's Angel." The student who saved thousands. She laughs, but it's not a happy laugh. It's hollow, bitter, disbelieving. She sees the lie for what it is, but the world won't. The same system that created monsters has now turned her into a saint. That's Vought's genius. They don't destroy people. They repurpose them. Andre isn't doing much better. He paces the room like a caged animal, his powers unstable from the trauma. Metal objects bend slightly whenever he walks by. He wants to escape, but deep down, he knows there's nowhere to go. Vought owns the narrative, the government owns the facility, and the public believes the fairy tale. The rebellion didn't free them, it simply changed their captors. Jordan spends their days trying to keep the group sane, the only one still holding on to a thread of optimism. But even they can feel it, the shift in energy, the unspoken dread that something bigger is coming. They notice how the guards never speak, how the lights flicker at the same time every night, and how Kate, still unconscious, occasionally murmurs strange phrases in her sleep. Integration, control, complete. And then one evening, Kate wakes up. Her eyes open slowly, glowing faintly blue, the same color that pulsed through the woods. She sits up without speaking, her face eerily calm. Marie rushes to her side, relief flooding her voice, but Kate doesn't recognize her. She looks at Marie, Andre, and Jordan as if they're strangers. Then she whispers something that chills them all to the core. They're awake. No one understands what she means until the lights in the bunker flicker violently. Alarms flare. Screens flash static, then lines of code. The system itself begins to glitch. One by one, the guards outside the glass fall to their knees, their eyes glowing blue. Whatever network was built beneath Godolkin, whatever psychic connection was born in that explosion, it wasn't destroyed. It was dormant. And now, it's waking up. Kate steps forward, her movements robotic but graceful. Phase 4, she mutters. Control through memory. She places her hand on the wall, and the glass separating them from the observation room begins to ripple like liquid. Marie shouts for her to stop, but it's too late. The barrier collapses inward, the scientists on the other side screaming as their minds are invaded by flashes of shared thought. Images of cities, armies, leaders all linked.